Hello, hello. I hope you're having a wonderful passive day. Today, I wanted to talk for 10 or 15 minutes about leadership and also a little bit about the economy. Um, there's no denying that we're living in some pretty tough times, right? Turbulent times like we're in, they call for some pretty extraordinary leadership. And I think we've seen some of that lately. Now, when faced with uncertainty, ambiguity, rapid change, and such, like we are in today's environment, today's economy, leaders have got to stay stable and steadfast so that we can navigate the organizations that we're in, kind of see them through the storm, so to speak. And I wanted to point out a few essential strategies today for success in leadership so we can see how they're reflected in the strategies of leaders that excel in what they're doing and excel in times like these where turbulence seems to be the rule rather than the exception. Now, the first strategy of becoming or effectually leading is that of emotional intelligence. We've talked about this before. You've heard Mr. Mufareh talk about this before, as well as self-awareness, right? Because effective leaders, we don't need to be geniuses, so to speak, but we do need to have a high degree of emotional intelligence. And this emotional intelligence, otherwise what we call EQ, right? It's the ability to understand, to use, and to manage our own emotions in positive ways so that we can relieve stress, communicate more effectively, and obviously to empathize with others so that we can overcome challenges and perhaps even completely diffuse any conflict. Now, the whole emotional intelligence package, so to speak, is activated through self-awareness, which is also critical in turbulent times, and it allows leaders to stay grounded and to stay focused. Now, the second strategy we're talking about here is one that uses adaptability and flexibility. Adaptability, right, pertains to leaders that are able to embrace change and uncertainty, and they know how to shift or how to pivot, as it would be, when necessary to make sure there's a flow of communication and achievements of goals, not to mention survival of the organization. Flexibility in thought and action is what enables leaders to innovate, right? To bring forward some innovation for the business and to find creative solutions to otherwise complex problems. Now, the third strategy needed for this effective leadership in turbulent times would be obviously something like communication and transparency, right? Mr. Mufareh talks about this a lot. He talks about trying to be as transparent as he can. And in this way, clear and transparent communication is rather vital as far as the component goes anyway of effective leadership, especially in these types of times that are rapidly changing, turbulent. They have currents that run in and out of them. And in these, leaders have got to communicate effectively with various stakeholders and members, customers, that sort of thing. And doing this is a must if the leader is going to be fostering any kind of a trust or confidence from other folks. Now, another strategy is all about the thinking and the vision. Obviously, you've got to have that. And leaders with a clear vision and strategy, or a strategic mindset, I'll put it that way, are capable of deep thought and focus, and they can navigate these very shifting times with purpose and with direction. They also prioritize, and they can innovate, and they can allocate resources very effectively because they understand the big picture and what's going on, and they're able to take a good look at it through thought and vision. Now, for all this to happen, leaders also need to have resilience and agility. Resilient leaders are ones that kind of bounce back, so to speak, from setbacks or inconvenient challenges, even failures, and they recognize them and they use those failures or setbacks as opportunities for growth. Agility in leadership refers to the ability for leaders to respond quickly to changing circumstances, and it enables them to do so. And the last strategy for leadership in times like these is one that we talk about quite a bit, and that's empowering others. Effective leaders empower others to take ownership and to make decisions for themselves and to foster their own culture of collaboration and innovation for the things that they want to see happen. Now, every day in and day out, I am hearing in one way or another about the need that we all face, right? We all have needs. And in today's economy, that seems to be a rather prevalent theme. So I get it. I are one, as they say. So let's talk a little bit about the economy, which is, my opinion, a little arbitrarily based. But what I'm saying is that our economy is based on collective agreements, and it works because we say, hey, you know, this can of beans is worth this much, or, you know, this loaf of bread is worth that much, right? Well, that's all well and good, but it hasn't always been the way that it is now. And I mean by that we've probably always had a barter system of one type or one sort or another. You know, maybe it used to be with, I don't know, beads or cows or firewood or other stuff. But right now, what we use is coin and paper, right? Currency. So it's somewhat arbitrary because establishing value is random, which is why we can get some things for different prices depending on where we live. It's just what we agreed to. Anyway, right now, there's a lot of people worried about the collapse of the economy, or at the very least, inflation, or the ability to be able to get what they want or what their families will need. And it seems to be, to me at least, a more solid economy if we would be basing it on what people do, or people themselves, you know, their skills and their abilities, and what they're able to actually contribute to society. And I think that in doing that would get something probably a little more tangible. You'd know what you're getting. And we'll eventually get there. But the point is this: we don't have to worry about the collapse of the current system so much. I mean, yeah, you're probably going to sweat the load a little bit when we see some crazy things happening. But all the major systems in the world are heading toward decentralization. And yeah, eventually we're going to see some things collapsing, and things are going to be tough for some of us as we move through it. No denying it. But the collapse of these systems has got to happen if we're going to have new systems. Remember what Bucky Fuller said, right? That you got to create new systems that make the old ones obsolete. Well, the trick to doing that is to create the new ones now. So they're going to be able to be put in place, or they will be in place when the old ones crumble, by virtue of the fact that, you know, they're dead weight because they just don't serve us anymore. Well, that's where we are right now. That's where ONPASSIVE is right now. We're creating a new system, right? Ash Mufareh is creating a new system. Because of this, seeing the old systems starting to break up and dissolve, in a manner of speaking, is actually, it's kind of a cause for celebration, because it means that there's a new system that's going to be put in place. But we have to take action. On our personal part, we've heard of action and taking action, and we call that compassionate action, and that's sustaining everything that we're doing, and, you know, getting behind the AI with heart and all that. But we have to take action to make those new systems, right? We have to invent them or create them. I mean, not as a means to an end necessarily, but because that's what excites us to do. It gets us excited. We do it because that's us following our passion. And when we do that, the universe supports us in whatever endeavor we're doing, right? I mean, after all, that's what our excitement is. The feeling of excitement is our body's translation of the universe's message to us, showing us the direction to take to become the best that we can be. And if it excites somebody to invent, or to create, or to talk about, or to share ideas of new economic systems, all right, just because that's what excites them, like it obviously does Mr. Mufareh, then that's what's going to create the new systems. everything needed is going to be able to come to us, and synchronicity is going to take care of the timing. So we really don't have to sweat it. In other words, everything's going to fall in place when it's all supposed to happen. And when there are some exciting people doing some exciting things because they're all excited about it, just because they're excited about it, the timing is going to take place automatically, and the new systems will be where they need to be when they need to be there, which is when the old systems no longer serve us, right? That's how it works. It's automatic. It already works. It just works that way. We don't have to make it work, and that's the illusion. Just let the work do the work and let it get going by going with the flow of it all, and just by being who we really are and following our passion. We don't need to give in to the illusion of, heavy lifting, right? The universe, God's going to do all that. Creation supports us in whatever way that we say we believe. And we can look through the illusion and we can understand this is where we're shifting to, right? Everything's shifting toward that decentralization, right? It's a whole new system of abundance is all coming into play. And if we'll just believe in it and act like we believe in it, then it's going to happen regardless of what we do, right? This is how we use the power of the illusion instead of giving in to the illusion of power, if you will. I hope you can see the difference there, right? Use the power of illusion. Don't fall under the negative ego assumption of an illusion of power. We're all going to have more than enough. Abundance is the rule of the universe, not the exception. Remember, the idea is that there's really no such thing as lack in the way that we would typically define it. So let's get back to the idea that we're actually experiencing, right? Let me put it this way: what we are actually experiencing when we create the experience of lack, right? Because when we believe in lack, what we're creating is an abundance of lack. Yeah, clear as mud. I get it. Okay. Okay, let me try it this way. So often, a lot of times, most of the time, we really don't get it, right? What's the phrase? Things seem to be backwards, I think. For example, we're led to believe and we're taught to believe seeing is believing. Well, no, believing is seeing. And when you believe something, that belief is a combination of things, right? It's a combination of thought and emotion and an intent for it to be. And all these things work together to bring it into our reality. So if you can believe in lack strong enough to have an abundance of lack, why not just believe in something that gives you an abundance of something you'd prefer, not lack? Because it's all abundance. It's just different kinds of abundance. We're never not abundant. If we're experiencing lack, we just have an abundance of lack. When we experience the idea that we call lack, it's not actually a lack of abundance. It's an abundance of lack. So it's all in your mindset. It's all in the way you're looking at these things and interpreting the illusion all the way around you. But I would draw you back to leadership and these turbulent times and say, look, we've got a wonderful company that's doing some wonderful things. And Mr. Mufareh is exemplifying in every way imaginable the leadership that we need in these times. And each of us are likewise capable of leadership like that. So take a look at what he's doing. See the examples he's setting, and then set those up in your own lives so that you can then also make sure that everything is pointing in the right direction. We're all going to the same goal, and we're all looking forward to accepting and seeing the same thing. And that's all the abundance that's going to come to us when it does. So thank you so much for listening to this. I hope you have an awesome ONPASSIVE day. Keep the faith. Keep your candle burning, so to speak, and just know that it's happening, it's on the way, and we're all going to be part and parcel with it. So thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful ONPASSIVE day.